Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Wellness Blueprints. I'm Jess Milner, and I'm so glad you're here to nourish your roots with me. This week, I want to talk a little bit about this season that we are heading right into. I'm recording this on October 1st, so we're officially into October. And this is the time of year that we consider, we're going into flu season or sick season, coughs and colds, and everybody's kind of worried about being sick over the winter time. So there are lots of different reasons why we end up getting sicker in the winter. Colder temperatures. If you're cold, your immune system is not going to be as amazing as it could be. Most of the time, we're inside where it's nice and warm, though. But really, uh, give this a little bit of a thought here, because especially because like last week on last week's episode, I talked about some of the different spices and foods and seasonings that are used this time of year and how they really are beneficial to the immune system. They're beneficial to helping you detox. They're helping you detox parasites. They're helping you detox different fungal things. And we are made of all of these bugs, if you will. Okay, all of these germs that everybody is like scared of. We're literally made out of those things. So as we go into the winter, these things are naturally things that we put into our traditional fare, so that we are consuming these things. And there's a reason behind it. We're consuming these things, and it's helping our body get ready and rid ourselves of this and that and help our gut microbiome and all of those things. So, and it helps to warm the body when, it's getting cold outside. So, the thing about this time of year really is that you are trying to prepare yourself for the winter. And what we've kind of done, seemingly for fun, in our culture and society, is we've kind of turned this into an endless parade of sugar season. So, I saw something today. It was a gal, a colleague of mine, and she had a meme. She was on the phone. She's holding up the phone, and she's like, "Your parasites called, and they want you to eat lots of sugar." It was something along those lines, like your parasites called, and they're really excited for you to like dive right into sugar season. And I got a little chuckle out of that. But that is really what is often going on when you are craving lots of sugar, lots of starchy carbs. You really want like cake and cookies and breads and stuff, which, I mean, this time of year we do start to get into those kinds of things. These are some of the traditional cultural things that we tend to gravitate towards during this time of year. And the ingredients are simply not the same as they were even 50 years ago. And that's even if you're making it yourself. Unless you're getting like Sunrise flour mill or something else that that the wheat is not compromised in the way that it is in our country. And then you're still potentially going to be having some sort of issues, and sometimes you don't even notice that these issues are occurring. You're just kind of like, okay, well, I got the flu, or I got this cold, or I got sick. And your body does need to detox sometimes. So I'm not saying like you can never get sick, because we should be getting, you should be getting sick once in a while. You should be detoxing once in a while. You don't want to hold all of that in. But these things, they are feeding all of those different bugs. So yes, the parasites, any kind of fungal imbalance, bacteria, even, it's feeding those things. Or, it's maybe feeding is not the right word, but it is encouraging more of an imbalance in your microbiome and everything throughout your body. It's encouraging your body to be a little bit more wonky and out of whack, and then you are prone to having to detox, becoming sick more often. So this sugar season. So, I mean, we're coming into Halloween, and I mean, actually, even Rosh Hashanah is this week, and I adore this holiday. There's going to be challah there, which bread. I'm actually going to bake a loaf myself. And so we're going to have that, and apples dipped in honey and everything. And honey is a very as sugary things go, that's a really good one to opt for, because it's natural, especially if it's raw honey. So I'm not saying that these traditions are bad in any way, but it's just an example. Like the breads and the sugar, this sweet holiday that the Jewish families are having this week. And then at the end of the month, we have Halloween. So of course, leading up to this, it used to be, at least, when I was growing up, we would have, a party in school, maybe like a little party, your little whatever. But it was Halloween. You went trick or treating on Halloween, and you got like your thing, your pillowcase full of candy, and then you kind of had this thing of candy. And honestly, I don't think I don't ever remember finishing it. Uh, I was kind of picky about which candy I wanted. So there was always some stuff in there that I was just like not interested in. But, it seemed to be like, one day. And now I'm noticing more and more like there are multiple things going on throughout the month. There'll be different trunk or treats and this and that, so there are many, many different opportunities for kids to go and just like collect on candy. And I'm not saying that, letting your kids eat candy, for the holiday is a bad thing. I mean, my kids are going to go trick or treating. I think at least my boys are probably going to go to the town trunk or treat this year. My girls weren't really interested in it. And that's fine. And most of the time, I mean, I try not to be too restrictive with it, especially now. My girls are preteens. They're going to be turning 12 this fall. My son is 10. My other son is 6. So I don't want to be super, super restrictive. When they were much younger, I could control it a little bit better. They didn't seem to really mind. I would say, okay, because we still do the switch witch, so they will turn in a bunch of their candy to the switch witch for a toy or something like that. It's always some kind of cool gift that is left by the Switch Witch. And, we'll make sure that we have some organic options, or, just less sugar options, whatever, things that are just a little bit better. But there are some things that are going to be in their trick or treat bag that I'm going to be like, okay, like this is not something we want to do all the time, but I'm going to let you do it. We still avoid the dyes as much as possible. But, if the kids want to eat a Snickers bar or a Twix bar, it's not the greatest thing ever. But, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to let you enjoy it because I don't want them to have a negative relationship with food, a negative relationship with me, different things like that. So, we teach them, okay, well, we're going to have it in small doses and we're going to make sure that we are taking our supplements and doing the things so that our body can properly get rid of that. And we trust that, we're going to take in what we can take in and that our body is going to know how to get rid of the rest. So, but what I'm saying is there, it seems to be more drawn out now with, the opportunities to have the candy and everything. So, it's one thing to have like, one night, like as a nutritionist, as a master nutritionist, I will tell you, I would much rather you take like a huge bowl of candy and eat the whole thing in one night and get yourself a nice bellyache than to like, eat like 4 or 5 pieces every single night for a week or 2 weeks, because then you're just constantly giving a little bit more, a little bit more. So I mean, if you're gonna like just be like, all right, I'm at a Halloween party, I'm gonna have some alcohol, or I'm gonna have these other sugary drinks. Maybe you're having an awesome mocktail that's full of all kinds of stuff. Or if your kids are not having alcoholic drinks at Halloween parties. That was a grown-up thing. I just want to clarify. But you know enjoying all of the things in one setting, and hopefully stopping yourself before you actually get a bellyache would really be better than kind of drawing it out. But the thing is, we end up drawing this out a lot of the time just because there's so much available over all this time. So today is October 1st. We're going to go into into this season. So then we have Halloween. And then, pretty much as soon as Halloween's over, Christmas starts, right? Even though we do have Thanksgiving at the end of November. So, then we got, what is that? That's a pie holiday. Maybe there's cookies, cinnamon rolls for breakfast, or, like there, things like that. And, you're visiting with family, maybe you're seeing some people that you don't see all the time. So, you're doing some celebrating. Okay, fine. You kind of get into this, sometimes we get into like a baking mood, and you just want to bake more and more things, and you have these really adorable things that you're making. Oh my gosh, a friend of mine who is a baker, she made these brownies and she made them look like the little spell books from Hocus Pocus. And I about lost my mind. I'm so sad she lives on the other side of the country, because I'm like, I need those. They were so cute. So, but there were all of these wonderful themed things. And then I've got my daughter's birthdays. They're twins, so their birthdays on the same day. And that is at the end of November as well. So these things are kind of rolling in. Maybe you've got birthdays coming along. I mean, they seem. I know people who's like everybody in their family is like between the end of November to mid December or something. Like everybody just has a birthday at the same time. So, there's these different celebrations. And then once you have your Thanksgiving celebration, then we get right into the Christmas season. And, so that's that whole holiday season where, almost everywhere you go, your kids are being offered a candy cane, which, is full of sugar and probably has dyes in it. So, some moms, myself included, I used to do this as well. We would make sure that we always had, some of the dye-free ones from like Yum Earth, in the car or in our bag or something, so that when they were offered that, we would just switch it out. So, that's an option to do. But we have all of these holidays. You go right into, it's the whole month of December. There's like something every weekend. I remember a few years ago, by the time Christmas rolled around, because we had gone to like, this celebration and this celebration every weekend, the kids were getting sick. And I was like, I don't want the kids sick for Christmas. So I made a rule. I was like, listen, we're only going to go to like one thing. Like, let's pick one thing that we're going to go to, throughout the month, so that we don't like toxify, sugar. And then bam, Christmas comes and it's like, well, now everybody's like laying down on the couch and they don't feel good, on Christmas. Nobody wants that. So then right after Christmas, we go into New Year's, which, for many is a booze holiday, not for all, but it is a sugar, alcohol is sugar. So it's a sugary holiday for many. But then it even continues because if we, Valentine's Day, there's chocolates and things like that. And then it even continues into Easter. So, depending on how like soon it comes and everything. So those are our cold months, and we're supposed to be supporting our bodies to detox all of these things. And maybe you are, but at the same time, we might be overloading ourselves with the very things that we need to detox. And when these things are out of balance, when all of these different bugs and everything are out of, all of that microbiome is out of balance, you're not going to be able to detox very well. It's going to affect your detox pathways. So of course, avoiding pigging out on all of the sugary things. I'm not telling you not to have your Thanksgiving slice of pie. I'm not telling you not to enjoy cookies when you want to make cookies with your kids for Christmas. What I like that, it's okay. I'm not telling you not to eat donuts on Hanukkah, because I think that's the only time in the entire year that I eat donuts, because I'm not like a huge fan of donuts to begin with. So that's when we do that. So I'm not telling you not to enjoy the things that you like, because I want you to feel that you can enjoy those things, but try to keep it to a minimum, because we want to lower our toxic load. It's the same thing where, we want to be using laundry detergents that are not full of, hormone disrupting chemicals and carcinogens. Okay. Laundry, I keep seeing this meme going around saying that just says laundry detergent should not cause cancer. And damn it, that is correct. It should not. We're just trying to get our damn clothes clean. Okay. So that's why, I gotta say, I love my Modere, because they even have a fabric softener. It's gray water safe and it smells so freaking fantastic. It gets everything clean. But aside, so what other things are there? There are, your cleaning products, your personal care products. You want to make sure that you're not slathering yourself in things that are going to be adding to your toxic load. So, especially this time of year, we want to make sure that we're decreasing some of those things, so that, you're not ending up getting sick all of the time, as it goes, and so the other thing, we talked about how these different things are going to help to warm your soul, warm your body, and they're going to help to detox and everything. So, this isn't just on, a physical level. Okay. You also want to be detoxing some things, but, maybe some emotional things. I used to hashtag all the time, release what no longer serves you. And that's a really good, aspect, or, it's a good thing for you to want to do. We would do that through emotion code and body code, but really, things that, things that are just causing your nervous system to be like, that's going to be more harmful than whatever it is that you're actually like, upset about. So, working through some different like limiting beliefs and stuff like that. I know, like, I used to honestly think that like everyone, or like not like people that I know necessarily. Like sometimes, of course, that sort of thing would happen, but like, oh, this happened, they're out to get us. They're out to get me for this, and I can't believe this person did this, and I can't believe this and this. And you start to take things personally, and you start to feel victimized by everything, and then that puts you into this completely like scarcity mindset. And so then you're not doing as well as you want to at work. You're not doing as well as you want to with keeping to your diet, making sure that your health is doing well, and you're sitting there going, oh, and I can't believe that I'm still not feeling well. I feel like I'm trying so hard, and what's going on, and oh, poor me. And these are normal things for us to go through and feel, but it's important to go through and feel those things so that we can move past that and get rid of these limiting beliefs. We really want to detox these things that are holding us back, and making us angry, because there are some things that we just simply cannot control. And getting angry about it, and having, like arguments with people about it and everything. I mean, I'm guilty. I used to be huge about this, like my opinion is the right opinion and everybody needs to agree with me. And I mean, it doesn't really get you anywhere, and it just stirs up your nervous system in a terrible way. And it prevents you from detoxing both spiritual and physical things, elements that need to be detoxed. So, it's not so much that it's right, wrong, black, white, like, there's always a neutral spot. So, whatever kind of opinion or stance that you have on anything, that's fine. That you are absolutely allowed to have that opinion. You're allowed to have that view. But when you can take a step back and understand that other people are allowed to think a different way than you, and understand that just because they don't doesn't mean that it's something personal against you, and vice versa. So, or maybe it is, maybe you do think that it's personal. Maybe you're saying, and then that's something to also kind of work through and detox. So, we want to make sure that we are getting rid of all of these things that are just kind of like mucking up our entire nervous system. And this is on a physical and a spiritual level, because when you have these things mucking up your, like your energy, when there's, all of the frequency that's, permeating through and all around you, when that is clogged up with all of these things, it's actually hitting at your nervous system and making it get clogged and not be able to do certain things. And then you have like calcium deposits all over the place. There's all kinds of stuff that physically happens to your body when that kind of stuff happens. So, this time of year, it's a good time of year to kind of reflect back and just think, okay, what can I do to help myself, rid myself of the things that are really not serving me. So that could be, like making sure that your diet is doing pretty well, and you're not overloading on toxins so that you have less chance of getting sick. That might mean journaling out some of your feelings, journaling out some things so that you can move past it in a healthy way. Some other things to do would be, making sure that you're moving your body, because of course that's going to make so many things work. It's going to help with your blood sugar regulation. It's going to help with, really your whole endocrine system. You want to make sure that you're doing things to move your lymph. Your lymph doesn't move on its own very much. So especially if you're starting to feel cloggy or anything, you want to make sure you're moving your lymph. So there are exercises you can do to rub on where your lymph nodes are and get all that going. You can get a jade roller. There are, the rose quartz. I mean, there's so many options. You can dry brush to get your lymph moving, because that is going to help your immune system. And it's actually going to help your energy, your frequency move more freely as well. So we want to make sure that we are tackling this from both sides. Detox has to do with all aspects of you and your health. It's not just like, oh, this crazy person over here thinks that she's got to detox parasites every month. You can think whatever you want about, that kind of thing. But it's more than that. While you're detoxing those parasites, if that's what you choose to do, then, be journaling things out, be taking note of how you're feeling and what kind of thoughts are going through your head while these things are moving through, because these things, you have these physical symptoms happening, but it's going to mirror some other things that might come up, some other things that will, remind you of something. And maybe that's something that you need to kind of like think more about and allow to just press on, so that it's not something that's holding over you anymore and causing like calcium deposits in your body. It's really, really fascinating. But really, you want to make sure you're warming your soul, warming your body, and giving your body the opportunity to properly detox things so that you can get ready for these colder months as we head into this. And, so of course, your diet, your toxic load with your personal and household products, and the way that you are dealing with handling your different emotions, and how you're handling, disagreements and things like that. And is it super easy? No, it's not. But that's okay, because we're all here, we're all having a human experience, so that means we're all human, and that's okay. But let's embrace this time of year, and try to keep the sugar to a minimum. The more that you eat the sugar, the more you will crave the sugar. Sugar is very, very addicting, and it happens very, very quickly. And yes, the more out of balance that microbiome is, the more out of balance all of that is, you're going to crave it more, because it's kind of like those different things are pulling the strings and telling you what you want to eat. And eventually they can even make it so that when you eat things like meat and good, veggies and like all the things that are actually good for you, that your belly will hurt. So, and be like, well, I only feel okay when I eat French fries and, cookies and, have this bread. And, sometimes I can put some meat on it, but if I put meat on the bread, then my belly hurts. That's a sign that there's quite a bit of imbalance, and we need to work on that imbalance so that we can properly detox those things. So, it is very addicting. It hits both areas of your brain. So, it's both sides of your brain. So, I mean, it ignites both sides of your brain in a way, though. So it really is very, very addictive. And when we are able to try to minimize it and do the different things that we can do to minimize our cravings and get past those things, then we can enjoy the season without, without feeling sick all the time. Because the truth of the matter is, you should be able to, have like all like the Christmas cookies and some eggnog and whatever, pies and, candies and stuff that you want to have like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. You should be able to eat those things within reason, and not feel sick AF for the next week. You shouldn't be sick in bed after that. Your body should be able to handle stuff like that. Absolutely. So that's the goal. And sometimes you do have to go for quite a while without having those things to, reset your body before you're able to handle some of it. So, that can be the case, but the whole idea is that you don't have so much of a toxic load that you can't handle it. And the same thing goes for your emotional toxic load, because if you are not working through things and you're hanging on to things and you're hanging on to these different limiting beliefs, then, the smallest amounts of things are going to drive you right up the wall. You're going to fly off the handle over the tiniest thing. I think we've all been there, and it's not because of that little thing that happened. It's kind of like, the straw that broke the camel's back, because there's just so many things piled on. So take good care of yourself, body, mind, and spirit, so that everything can detox properly, and then you can enjoy what we are now calling sugar season. We don't have to go through this season just kind of waiting for when we get the flu. Okay. If you do, then there are ways to handle that naturally. And like I said, it's normal to get sick at times, but the difference would probably be that you wouldn't be sick for quite as long, depending on what you're choosing to do to help yourself feel better. So I hope that this was helpful for you today. I want to welcome you into this fall season. I know we've been in fall for about a week and a half now, but now with October, here we go into this season. I know it's a very joyful season for a lot of people. It's also a difficult season for a lot of people. So, holding space for all of the aspects of that, because I understand, it's not everybody's most favorite time of year, and that's okay. But the advice can definitely be applied no matter what, what your situation is for this time of year. So thank you so much for joining me today on Wellness Blueprints. Please share this episode with your friends. Please go ahead and leave me a 5-star review. If you would like to download my free resource guide, you certainly can do that. You can go to jess.deeprootedwellnessid.com/resources, capitalize that R in resources. And I hope that you join me again next time. I'm so glad that you were here today. Enjoy this season. It's here to be enjoyed. So I truly hope that you do.